My name is Juene Hall, and I from a very, very young age, all my teddies had bandages on them. I always wanted to be a nurse, always. And I was fortunate enough to join the Navy at age 18 and trained and qualified as a general nurse. Um, you know, what drives you is it's a sort of job that it is, you've got to be passionate about it. And so when the Falklands came up, myself personally, I thought, okay, this is going to be putting my nursing skills probably more to the test than it ever has before. But I think there was an element initially of sort of excitement, if I'm honest, and really ignorance, not really knowing what we were going into, because it was back in the days where nurses had never been to sea before. So it was a totally new experience. So I think it was up until, I mean, even going out from on the plane, going out to Gibraltar, you know, we thought, oh, lovely going on a plane. But this plane had no windows and we were sort of sat in this netting and somebody sort of walking along this pole thing, flinging us parcels of food. And I thought, this is not really first class, is it? You know, this is a bit different. And so, yes, and it was very noisy and you had earplugs in because you couldn't hear yourself even speak, you know, on this plane. So at that point, I think there was a big element of anticipation, excitement. I'm not really a nervous person, so I didn't feel nervous about things at that time. Um, and then, as I say, I think when we actually set sail, I think that's probably when we started to be, not myself personally, I don't think I was nervous, but I was apprehensive at that point because I hoped that I'd got all the skills that I would be needing to be a nurse and to nurse whatever, you know, was put in front of us, whatever patients we had to deal with. But I think my apprehension for me personally was looking round at the limitations of the ship. Um, and and then I will say, I've got to put this in, is that we had the Royal Marine Band on board who were, their role was stretcher bearers. But they were, for the nurses, they were so much more than that for us because they'd all been to sea. And even at night, when we were going there, you know, you've got this inky black sea and an inky black sky, and you feel very, very small and insignificant. And the further the ship was going, you sort of psychologically thinking, we're a long way from home here. This is a bit daunting. And they were very, very supportive. They were very, very kind and very reassuring. And even like our clothes that we'd been given were very basic. We had a lot of nursing clothes, which just weren't fit for purpose. And so one of the other ships managed to get hold of a load of plimsolls, and they sent us out these plimsolls. Well, at the time I was 5.5 shoe, and I think I had a 7 or an 8. You know, I was one of the fortunate ones. Some girls had like size 10. We were like Flipper walking around this ship because our nurses' shoes just slipped on the deck. And again, the Royal Marine Band and the chaps on board, you know, we would sort of say to them, you know, is there any possibility we can have some of your uniform? So, you know, we pinched and borrowed and stole their uniform basically because our nurses' uniform just wasn't fit for purpose. So we had limitations with our own things. I think as well, you know, being female, we got our cabins, and there was 3 to a cabin, and we started making it look nice, you know, putting our toiletries. I think the first sort of rough sea, all of a sudden you could have smashing everywhere, and all the toiletries were falling down. It was like, okay, this is a bit different, you know. And we realised everything had to be secured, which of course in hospital that doesn't happen. You know, there was a few oxygen cylinders and things that were going flying, and you know, so we had to learn quite quickly that this was a very different sort of nursing going down there. So I think that's when I think a lot of us start to think, oh, we're a long way from home. The sea's very dark, the sky's very dark, you know, you know, are we going to be okay? Are we going to cope with this? So then we started to feel a bit jittery. And then I think when it really hit us was when the first ship got hit badly. I think it was HMS Sheffield got hit. And then we had a tannoy saying we are now full speed ahead to the Falklands. And at that point we thought, right, this is for real now. This is happening. And I seem to remember we were all quite quiet and sort of held each other's hands and thought, right, we're really going to a war situation here.